Hello! Welcome to a very cold and icy Penguins Rock at Edinburgh Zoo. My name is Lizzie. I work for Discovery and Learning here at Edinburgh Zoo, and we are here today to have a look at our penguins. So, here we are. At Penguins Rock in Edinburgh Zoo, and we have our keeper Dawn here today, just feeding some of our Gentoo penguins. So, welcome to Penguins Rock. Here at Edinburgh Zoo we have the largest penguin enclosure, outdoor penguin enclosure in Europe. We have goes up to 3.5 meters deep. With 1.2 million litres of water. And as you can see, it's very cold here today. We've got snow and a bit of ice on the ground. My phone's telling me it's about 1 degree out here. And the penguins are demonstrating very nicely for us how you should walk on this kind of ground. So, as you can see, these penguins that are gathered around our keeper here, Dawn, are Gentoo penguins, and they are the penguins that we have the most of here at Edinburgh Zoo. We have over 100, isn't that right? 100 and something Gentoos? Just under 100 Gentoo penguins here at Edinburgh Zoo. And they are the ones, they stand about 75 centimetres tall, and you can see them with their black and white and the white strap over their heads, beautifully modelled here for us. Hello everyone, just joining. Hiya, my name's Lizzie. I work for education here at Edinburgh Zoo, and we are joined by Dawn and our Gentoo penguins. So, let's have a little chat about some of our penguins. You can see on the penguins, if I get a little bit closer to some of them, you can see that they have these little bands around their flippers. Now these bands will tell the keepers which penguin is which. Every band has a different colour on it, and the female penguins have a band on their left flipper and the male penguins have a band around their right flippers. So have a look at some of the penguins that are on camera now and see if you can work out whether they're boys or girls. Now the keepers, like Dawn, are incredibly clever and can tell most of the penguins apart just by looking at them, can't you?
People think we're crazy, but I can't do it.
But for the rest of us, their bands are different colours and they tell us which penguin is which. So, for example, there is a penguin somewhere whose band is brown and orange, and I know that that one is called Terry, like a chocolate orange. And so there are little ways to remember things like that. Now, we also, as well as the Gentoo penguins, we have two other species of penguins here at Edinburgh Zoo. I don't know whether anyone in the chat can tell me what other species we might have here. Give you a second to have a think about it. You can see two of them here being fed by Dawn. These are two of our northern Rockhoppers, and you can tell them apart from the Gentoos because they've got these lovely yellow eyebrow feathers. Now they're slightly smaller than the Gentoos, and we will talk about them a little bit more later on. We're having guesses that we have emperor penguins. We don't have emperor penguins in Edinburgh Zoo. We do have rockhoppers. Well done, Katie. Well done anyone else who said that. Here we go, and you can see the penguins really enjoying their fish there. We don't have chinstrap penguins anymore, Jenny. I believe we used to in the 50s or so in Edinburgh Zoo, but at the moment we have got Gentoos, we have got the lovely little Rockhoppers who just came very close to me there, and somewhere off camera, who might come and join us in a little bit, we also have king penguins that look quite similar to emperors, but they're a bit smaller. They're all asleep over the other side of the bridge here. So our penguins in Edinburgh Zoo go through a lot of fish. I believe it's about 300 fish a day. Would you say that's right, Dawn?
Probably about that, yeah.
So they get fed about 5 feeds a day when they've got lots of chicks. So this penguin here who's just come up is very interesting. I'll show you. This one here looks a bit different from the Gentoos, but looks different from the Rockhoppers. This one is a juvenile Rockhopper. So you can see it's quite snowy here. The penguins have been enjoying the snow, but now it's turned to ice. They're taking their time while they walk on it, just like we do. Now, I've had a very excellent question in from Suzanne, who is, I'll tell you a little bit about some of the penguins that we have here. And we'll start with the major penguin, as Suzanne asked. One of our king penguins is called Sir Nils Olaf, or Brigadier Sir Nils Olaf III, Baron of Povey Island, to give him his full title. And he has been knighted by the King of Norway and is a member of the Norwegian Guard. So if you're ever watching the webcams and you can see a king penguin, and those are the ones that are bigger than the Gentoos you can see here, and they have yellow on their faces. So Sir Nils can be told apart when you're in the zoo by a purple band on his flipper, on his right flipper, because he's male. But when he's on the webcam, he tends to stay apart from the other kings a little bit, doesn't he?
He does, yeah. He's actually with them at the moment.
Of course he is. Of course he's with them at the moment.
I'll see if he'll come round and say hello.
And I'll tell you about a couple of our other celebrity penguins. So I think that's one just over here. If we go over and see, so you can see our Gentoos. And then just over here by the rocks, you can see that one over here that is a little bit paler than the other Gentoos. Still a Gentoo penguin. Now the flipper is on the right side, so that is our boy, so that is Snowflake. And Snowflake is what we call leucistic, which means that he doesn't make as much pigment in his feathers. He's not quite albino, as you can see he has got some colouring, but he doesn't make quite as much pigment as the other colours, other penguins, so he's paler. Have a look on the webcams, you can usually spot him, and there are two other paler ones who are his daughters. Do you think he knows he's famous? Yeah. You can see that attitude, look. So, we'll talk a bit about Rockhoppers then, as we've spoken about the Gentoos a lot. Can anyone tell me why they might be called Rockhoppers? If you can pop it in the Facebook chat here, let me know why you think they might be called Rockhoppers. You can see they're the ones with the yellow eyebrows there and the red eyes. They're slightly smaller than the Gentoos, but don't let that fool you, they can be quite feisty. So Rockhoppers are called Rockhoppers. The clue is in the name, really. It's because they like to nest on high up rocky places, because it means that less predators will be able to get to them. Now these little penguins, you can see how small they are. Dawn's there for scale. You can see how small they are, but they can jump up to 1 metre high, and they have a special layer of fat in their chests for landing on. And they're amazing feisty little birds. I can see Ava has asked whether the penguins ever slip on the snow, and I believe you were just saying that they did, Dawn.
run on the snow.
There you go, don't try running on the snow. We actually saw them when we first came out with the bucket of fish. They all tried to take the most direct route rather than the easiest route and found it quite hard to get out of the pole. Our species of penguins in the wild, they do tend to live in places where it's not quite so snowy. There's obviously snow at some times of the year, but it's not snowy all of the time. So I think they do quite enjoy it when it first arrives and then get a bit fed up of it after a while. Yes, so rockhoppers jump. They jump from rock to rock. And you can see, if I just turn around very carefully on this patch of ice, you can see them up here. There's a big group of them. So Dawn has just gone off behind the scenes to see if we can get some king penguins on camera for you. But while we're here, we'll have a look at the Gentoos. Now, our oldest Gentoo was born in 1987. No, that's the oldest rockhopper, sorry. Our oldest Gentoo is about 30 years old. And there's one just coming over to say hello to me here. There you go, look at that. Our oldest rockhopper is about 30 years old. In the wild, they tend to live to about 15 to 20. And you can have a little bit of a clue about how old a Gentoo penguin is by the size of the white strap across their heads. So every time they molt, the white strap gets slightly bigger. And they only molt once a year. That was lovely to do live on camera, thank you very much. So they only molt about once a year, so the white strap gets a bit bigger every time they molt. So you can see the one that we were looking at there, his white strap across her head, is a lot bigger than the one on this head, which is quite narrow. So this penguin is younger than the other one. Now, something to look out for when you're watching the webcams is some penguin behaviour. Now, things that their penguins do, you can see them in the water over here. And they like to swim around. They love being in the water, penguins. And when they're very happy, they do this thing which we call porpoising, which one penguin right at the back just demonstrated for us. They jump out of the water like dolphins. And that just means that they're very happy, they're feeling playful. And in Penguins Rock, we've got a variety of different things. So they've got their lovely standing area here where we put out their nests in summer. We have just over there, you might be able to see that rock. That is a waterfall. And they love to stand under the waterfall. And they also have floating on the water, you might see sometimes appearing in the webcams, you might see some big brown discs, and those are our icebergs to give the penguins a break from swimming and to give them interesting features in their enclosure, which they would have in the wild. Now, I saw somebody in the chat asking how you can go about helping the penguins. Everything that you can do helps, from donating to adopting. We've got Dawn back with some more fish for them. As we said earlier, they eat about 300 fish a day. That costs about £165 a day to feed all of our penguins. I don't think the water here has ever frozen, has it?
No, yesterday it was 1.9 degrees cold. Today it's about 2.5. We sometimes have little patches of frozen water, but it's such a big body of water that's constantly moving because of our waterfall that it's never frozen, luckily.
So hopefully you heard that I'm a little way away, obviously with social distancing, but the water is constantly moving with the waterfall. So although it gets very, very cold in there, it hasn't ever frozen completely. Ava and Lexi, rockhoppers, can jump up to 1 metre high. That's almost 3 times their height. And here is our juvenile rockhopper just coming over to check me out, find out what I'm doing in his home. In her home, sorry. As I said earlier, the bands on each flipper will tell you whether they are male or female. And because penguins are birds, their flippers are actually their wings. Sue, and we all miss you too. Get down here. Here's one of our Gentoos. Now, some other behaviour you can watch out for on the webcams, which will be starting probably in a month or so, is what we call a bow hissing movement. So in a month or so, towards the end of February time, we'll be moving into our that takes a liking to another penguin. They will bow down. There's a pair just behind over there that we're just doing it. We'll see if they do it again. They bow down low to each other. No, they're not going to do it again. They bow down low to each other and then they come back up with a hissing. That's a good question to put to Dawn. Who's your favourite penguin?
Because they've got a nice bit of attitude and personality. Probably one of my favourite is, she's away over there, but it's our oldest northern Rockhopper penguin. She's 33 and she's called Mrs. Wolowitz, which again she was on the TV show. She's got a lot of personality, she's a lovely bird.
There you go, so the older penguins tend to have personality, and we have Mrs. Wolowitz is over by the waterfall? Oh no, all the way the other side of the pond. Yeah, all the way the other side. So somebody asked whether we'll be doing this more often. We will be doing a live every 12:30 on a Monday from a different place while we are all learning from home.
Rockhopper chicks who hatched in April last year, so Blake is one of them and the other one is over the other side, so they're the youngest we've got at the moment.
There you go. And that's one of our youngest. So you can see that Dawn has very nearly run out of fish here. So I think we will probably bring this stream to a close. I would just like to end by thanking everybody who has helped care for our penguins over this time while we are closed. Challenges, you're helping to make sure that our animals have all of the food that they need. So thank you very much. Anyone who's put any more questions in the chat, we will get back to you over the course of today. And thank you for joining us at Penguins Rock.